They do go for Nyx
Oh.
Assassin. I do like that they forced out those two bans onto Lexo's hero pool. I think his Tiny and his Rubik are probably one of his best, but first time we get to see a Nyx pull out here, and in a really great Nyx game so far. Of course, melee hero to pair up with the Enigma might be a little bit more difficult to land those Impales just 100% of the time secured, but
Mm.
versus Doom, Scorched Earth, Jakiro, Dual Breath, you're always going to be able to hit a Carapace.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just AoE ability, the Nyx just kind of walks into it, just laughing to himself. And honestly, if called upon, even Carapace and maybe run into an arrow if he spots it first. But the amount that the Nyx can do to counterplay up against 5-Rat is incredibly impressive. He isn't the most durable of supports, and you put him together with the Crystal Maiden, that is going to be a slight concern, but you look at the 5-Rat side, as of right now, there is no sort of backline jumper. The Mirana is kind of the best that you're going to get unless the Doom wants to buy a blink, and if he's blinking onto the supports, he's obviously not dooming a core target. So the Wildcard drafting themselves in a solid spot here, and then they take the Wraith King ET, which a hero that had kind of been forgotten for a decent amount of time.
Yeah, but one that got a heck of an interesting buff. Now, the skeletons that get targeted with Wraithfire Blast just run. They get 25 MS. They go fast now on the hero that gets hit by that Wraithfire Blast. In addition to the Wraithfire Blast also moving a good bit faster, projectile speed got increased. So we'll have to see. It's certainly a gamble pick here, and a hero that we usually don't see because the hero hasn't felt good for a long, long time. But sure, we'll have to see if those buffs make it that much more difficult of a laner. And, of course, you can't get Doom twice. You'll have to wait out on that first life, just kind of a classic counter versus the Doom versus those big ultimates, because simply your carry cannot afford to tank any of those. And if he does, well, then he wins, because he's Wraith King, because he comes back on that second turn. But we'll have to see, because picking Wraith King into Jakiro also always kind of feels a little bit bad, because whenever you are coming back, if AB1's ready for it, you're going to be met with an ice path that you can't react to either. You always get caught in that matchup. You can't BKB it. You can't blink out of it. So we'll have to see if maybe that's going to come into play for Yuma here. But other than that, we'll have to see. I think that change definitely is going to make the Dooms lane maybe slightly harder, but that's if the Skeletons survive versus Scorched Earth. So it goes in both directions.
And now an interesting choice from 5-Rat. They take the Ember Spirit with their pick here, so it gives you someone who can play in between the cooldowns, obviously. High mobility, high damage, but I still feel like you might want to be a little bit careful with the Nyx Assassin, right? If your Flame Guard is on, or if you jump to a Remnant and you're not quite ready on your timings, he could get caught as well in that Carapace, and we talk about this all the time with the Ember Spirit. That is the threat. If the first stun lands, if you get locked down, you're not the most durable, and every member of Wildcard has some sort of stun or root to work with, so they just need to hit one, and it could lead into the chain.
Well, and of course, versus Nyx Assassin always feels kind of bad as well. And I was going to say, when you pick Ember in such an aggressive position, it's draft check. Did you ban out enough heroes? Do you have every single thing that's going to cause you problems out of the way already? And I think with the Panga ban already out, maybe they thought they're a little bit safe, but Shadow Fiend versus Ember speaks for itself. That is not a fun lane at all, and something that Kits is going to have to deal with now. And we'll have to see if that's going to be trouble, because that lane is never pretty. It never looks great. The TB does look great, though. That is a great pick. DNM all in one of his most comfortable heroes as well. Not the Medusa, you know, okay, people are going to warm up to that hero eventually, I swear. But the not wanting to pick that hero into the Nyx Assassin is probably the reason why they go for the TB instead, as well as just illusion carries versus Nyx. Really invalidated Alexo's hero on the latter half of these picks, but at the same time, I just hope that Kits is going to be able to get something. Kits has been kind of known at his ability to draw out those mid lanes, even when it's a disadvantageous kind of lineup with how much of a spirit specialist he is. But at the same time, if ADZ is playing SF right, this is not going to be fun. Kits is going to need both of his supports, really, every single rune, even water runes. He's going to need help to slow down the Shadow Fiend. Otherwise, the lane doesn't get better.
Yeah, you're already playing a spirit who is so sort of rune dependent. Then you throw him into a matchup where it's going to be even more potentially one-sided, so rune control will be the kind of end-all be-all for his lane, and I feel like it's something 5-Rat can get away with, right? DNM should be okay to last at least a little while by himself in his lane. You can say the same for speed on the Doom, so there will be those periods of time where they won't need the babysitter and the supports will be freed up to assist kits.
Nope, for sure. Now, well, you got your tests. There are quite a few heroes being checked here, and I think Devi and what he ends up going for item-wise is probably the most interesting thing, but also seeing if this Doom maybe has a little bit more to cook with. And even though, you know, for a second there, we hesitate in saying that it's just going to be Moose's Mirana, but now that it is, they do have the unlosable lane. Every single creep is so easy for them to play for. Yuma really isn't going to be able to contest that lane pretty much at all. He's just going to be stuck farming, but albeit much slower than what the Mirana and the Doom can make from themselves. They just print money at this rate.
Yeah, his maximum efficiency on the Wraith King will still be lower than Speed and Doom, just because they're gonna get some stuff done for free. So we'll see. Maybe Yuma anticipates maybe shifting into the jungle a little bit earlier, shove off from the lane, maybe a minute or two earlier than you otherwise would, just to counterbalance that. Or I was gonna say maybe they try to get more aggressive to try and find kills instead, but I don't really know if they're in the best position to do that. It's going to be Wraith King and CM, so I suppose they do have some lockdown, but you gotta wonder about the damage.
No, but here we go. Draft gets started. Both teams smoked out, and it looks like there should be a clash on that high ground spot. They're both kind of pinging this area, and, well, this is where we could see that clash. Lexa with the boots, though. He gets out the ward just a little bit sooner. This is where, depending on how they break, double stun,
2-man.
but needs follow-up.
They're going to get the slow down. AB1 in some trouble. Moose is trying to create a little bit of space for his teammate, but I think he still goes down to the right clicks here. Yeah. And Yuma gets the kill. First blood into the Wraith King's hands, and all it takes is that little bit of extra speed. The ward just kind of sets them up, and, well, that's why we smoke out at the very start, right? Most of the time, you just drop a ward and nothing comes of it, but every once in a while, get your opponents by surprise.
No, for sure. You get your gold. Ends up going to Yuma as well, which, you know, isn't the most impactful unless he's rushing maybe a Helm of Iron Will, but I think he's already got Wraithband actually coming out on the courier. Just knows that he's going to be eating a lot of right clicks, so wants maybe just a little bit more armor. So arrow gets dodged out, they stun, they swipe away the rune, and very nice start for Wildcard.
There we go. Yuma's going to grab the third, so yeah, first blood and 3 bounty runes. Not too shabby, and, well, we'll get these lanes underway here. Actually, already trading out a little bit of damage between the supports in both of the side lanes, so, well, they're not exactly shy in the early stages here, but it's the supports trading damage, right? It's really just going to burn some regen, but no kill potential until the cores get involved, but that's not going to stop him from poking.
No, definitely not, and, well, top lane I think is going to be the boring lane. Really, the only way I think Speed can get punished here is if he greeds out for 1 or 2 of his items like we saw earlier. The previous game we just immediately rushed the boots, but this looks like we're going to get pretty boring stuff. See if this large camp ever gets unblocked and Moose actually can just farm for it. And actually, I think Ollie unblocked it himself, just so that way maybe he had the same mentality. He wants to farm it up with Frostbite, but so now they're going to have to fight over that large camp farm.
And Moose kind of wins the trade-off in terms of the ability to get the last hits, just the instant kill with the arrow. But I think he's going to be perfectly fine with that, and as you said, this lane, well, 5RAT can afford to be a little greedy and just try and maximize their farm. Meanwhile, over in the middle lane, Kits has a little bit of a battle in front of him here, trying to deal with the Shadow Fiend as best as he can.
Yeah, early levels though, this is exactly what he needs to do. Before SF hits level 5, when it's only level 1, level 2 raises. Level 2 raises can definitely hurt, but just a matter of whether or not we can see that slowdown happen. But bottom just gets caught up too far in the lane, tried to stop that large camp pull from going off. Does succeed, which of course means the NM gets to remain closer to his tower, but loses his life instead.
And the change in the Eidolon attack range not mattering too much for that play. They're able to just get right in front of AB1 and drop the double stun on him, but The second the Jakiro's back in lane, he is trying to get aggressive. They go for that slow, and Devi is taking a fair bit of damage, but feels like at this point, without sort of maybe some harder lockdown, that's just too tough a kill for them to grab.
Yep, and definitely abusing this first meta as much as you can. Sadly, it looks like the lane will eventually just push into the Enigma, as it surely will, but not in position for them to get too much harass out, even though they really are gunning for it, which is exactly what they need to do, but it's still very difficult to connect.
I just immediately starts backpedaling anytime he sees the Jakiro come forward. AB1, though, he's able to get a courier snipe out there. Takes Alexo's courier down, so not a bad play. Really not too much more that Jakiro can expect to do is... Okay. Casual impale there to try and deny some creeps. Why not?
Yeah, Divide doesn't want a demonic conversion on top of the wave, but also wants to wait for level 2 demonic conversion as he hits level 3, and now he's back to spamming it out.
Summon him up. Just focus on the farm here, because he's a little bit behind. You take a look at him, 8 and 5, certainly not bad from the Enigma, but you compare it to the other cores, and there's a little bit of a gap forming, so... Trying to catch up here with the Eidolons in position. AB1, though, with the dual breath, is kind of going to hunt them the vast majority of the time. Not able to do so now, though, as DNM gets hit by the Malphus, pushes him back a bit, but he's going to be just fine. At the same time, though, yeah, runes are coming up, 4 minutes. There's going to be a bit of a fight for them. Xantic is going to grab his, but he's in a bit of a weird spot. If Moose can hit with the arrow, they might just be able to find this, or they could get it without the arrow. Okay. Yeah, that works too. Starstorm hits, Sleight of Fist comes in, 2 points up in it, so it got that little bit of extra damage, and, well, Kits gets the first kill mid in a situation where he was supposed to be the underdog.
Yeah, and now gets to play for his own denies. When the SF eventually gets back, the creep wave is going to be on the Ember's Hill. That's a perfect rotation from Moose, and Kits is going to get his level 6 now before the Shadow Fiend. He's extremely happy with this outcome.
Just was a bit of an interesting one. Xantic just pushing for the water rune already with, I think he had like half HP or something like that, so already in an awkward position, and then I feel like the arrow really should have been needed in that fight, but the threat of it was enough.
Yeah, and of course, you have to sacrifice maybe a little bit for speed, but he's not a complainer. He is going to give maybe a little bit of free farm over to Yuma, but it's a lane that Doom can always just kind of exist in, even though he might get pressured up, and they certainly want to make a play with the skeletons here with Yuma, just with the change, probably is that much more physical damage to put out onto him, but as long as the draw is happening top, the Mirana can afford to rotate. And now everything is basically a draw, and 5RAT continue to prove why they're one of the best teams at those first 10 minutes. Laning-wise, just rock solid.
Yeah, they are getting maybe not quite everything that they want, but certainly not too much to complain about as speed. I mean, he's going to get hit. The root now comes in. The skeletons, though, actually haven't caught up, so... I mean, we see the move speed come into play. The attack speed, not so much, because they didn't really get to attack, but... Well, there's the play in theory. In the meantime, speaking of plays, there is one breaking down in that south side river. They're trying to fight over a rune that actually spawned up to the north instead, but now they are really all in on this fight. Kits was able to get away, though. Pops the Fairy Fire, turns around. They'll find the kill onto Xantic again. And Ollie, yeah, he's not going to make it out. They get the Searing Chains into the arrow. Moose picks up both kills, and, well, for Wildcard, this was a middle lane they were expecting to be pretty damn stable, and now, 6.5 minutes in, it's kind of a problem area. Kits wins the fight, grabs the regen. This could turn into the Ember really making some moves elsewhere on the map. He doesn't have the highest damage output, ET, but we just saw them take that fight in the river without it. As well, back down bot. AB1 able to make a trade.
Yeah, just unfortunately losing his life to the Enigma and a soul kill, so now Devi is going to have Black Hole just a little bit faster than maybe DNM would like, but that's the one nice thing. The Enigma, having alone time with the Terrorblade, that's exactly what he wants. Just still denying many of those creeps, but top, They got him. They got him without Doom, even. They just dove hard under the tower. That level 3 Starstorm, with Mu having those successful kill rotations, he's a wickedly high-level Mirana at this stage of the game, and you just die. It's not like he has a raindrop. He doesn't feel like he needs a raindrop on that Wraith King, but he definitely goes down for it.
Yeah, he goes down. He didn't have any backup there either, so they knew they had the 2v1, and now over on the other side, never mind. DNM is perfectly fine. I thought Vi was going to get in. I think he might have Malefist an illusion there, because he definitely used it, but it didn't actually hit the real TB, so bit of an awkward spot, but you have now pushed the Terrorblade underneath his tower, and they either know or suspect that the supports aren't here, because they're both hanging out up top, but if they can get pressure onto Yuma again, honestly, the Terrorblade just rotates into the jungle, and he's fine, and yeah, there it is. This time they do have the Doom, so Yuma, well, there really isn't any play here. Ollie's TPing in, that's great, but the first life is gone. The arrow connects, but diving again with no Doom, a little bit too much to ask, but they put that on a very long cooldown on the reincarnation.
Yep, 200 seconds, and if anything, even though it looks like a nasty trade, somehow the Doom is just a shorter cooldown straight up, so Speed will have it back before the reincarnation's online. But they also give Kits a place to gank now. He has a really easy rotation, and it puts a lot of pressure on Yuma, because he can't really just casually show up top and then expect, especially his Enigma, to save him. But yeah, but he's closed off. This doesn't look nice. Boris is trying to do what he can, just pull the creeps underneath tower and then sap some XP, and it's working. As long as he can kill those creeps before there's enough to make a dive happen, then he will be relatively safe. But this is where Kits gets involved, and this is where the top lane should crumble, and then they either move away and they set up something else, or they fall victim to this dive.
It's direction are you trying to go in here? Because he is gonna, unfortunately for him, miss Yuma. Of course, that does mean they can get directly in onto the Crystal Maiden, and this is going to be a relatively... Okay. Not a simple kill, because Kits doesn't decide to go for it. Instead, they try to hit the tower. Doesn't really work much. He has to TP back, because his own tier 1 is under attack. But this is a bit of a sticky situation here. Devi's got the Black Hole. They've got to take him down quickly. They are dropping him pretty low. Now the Black Hole comes in, but there's going to be the Ice Path canceling it immediately. Booze does die, but they'll trade him out now. Xantic is in trouble. He's going to try to Requiem, just creating separation, and... well, that may have worked. Can Kits close the gap? He can, but it's not enough damage. But he's looking like he wants to keep going. He's got Sleight of Fist back up again, but he won't connect with it.
Yeah, and then regen top. Does Alexo beat him there? Yeah, he does. So instead, Kits is going to have to TP back to his base. But, okay, they still get the Enigma kill. They still get him off their tower. They do get to kill Moose instead, but I feel like 5RAT are still very happy with the situation. But with all that attention in mid, Yuma gets to peacefully return to his lane and doesn't get pushed out any further.
Working his way towards the armlet, so some progress being made. On the other side, though, the TB has kind of been put in the same situation, just drifting between the jungle and the lane, finding some farm, working towards an early Manta style, so both of the cores have been given a little bit of breathing room, but you see 5RAT still looking to get that pressure onto the tower, and in the glyph, it'll be refreshed once the tower goes down anyway, so really no significant losses there in terms of that cooldown, but the tower does fall. Speed is now maybe free to leave the top lane for the first time in nearly 12 minutes, and I mean, he's got Doom back up, so if he does decide to leave, could look for a fight somewhere, although ET, I will say, he doesn't have the greatest of means of closing the gap. It's literally just sprinting in as fast as he can, but that might still catch somebody out, especially if the stuns from the supports start the fight.
Yeah, but at this point, he's just farming. He's got Midas. He's going to wait for his BKB. He doesn't want to get stunned by a Nyx Assassin, you know, get caught in that awkward position, but the rest of the lineup is getting active, putting a little bit of pressure on mid, getting some D-wards going as well. It feels pretty nice. Boris, poor Boris. See him trying to sap, not even level 6, 12 minutes into the game. And we might see a play here. The Vendetta for the rune and Kits. Oh, just dodges it with the slight that isn't even meant for Alexo. Unfortunate. Doesn't get the rune, though.
He's at least able to take the illusion away, but yeah, Kits you'd like to say he planned that all out, but he really didn't. He had no idea. I think that the Nyx was there, although this sentry's kind of close to where they were standing, but I think the Nyx might have been out of the radius. Either way, though, he dodges, but now it's Xantic. He's in some trouble. There's the root. There's the ice path into the macro pyre, but they stunned up Kits. Root into Impale just keeps him locked down, and not only does the SF live, they find, honestly, what might have been the most valuable kill that they could have gotten in that scenario, and it again alleviates the pressure on their tier 1 tower.
Yeah, just ends up panning out for you. Now Xantic should just be able to nuke out the wave and then retreat to his own jungle, and free time is bought. Just stretching themselves out, I think, a little bit thin there, and then unfortunately for Moose, not able to really find any angle there for the easy connection. Otherwise, that would have been a kill. Should have been a kill, but just not ready to deal with the frostbite. And now smoke up, 2 smokes up actually, as they look for speed, which is kind of a crazy kill, but they're gonna try for it. They're gonna get the stun. No, barely out of range from that scorched earth.
He tried his best, but speed, having the extra move speed bonus from the aura there may have helped him out. Just get that little bit away from the carapace, and now he TP's bot. So speed, I mean, he's playing a full-on greed game here, right? But you can't really blame him. He's gotten away with it. He's got max level Devour. He's got a Midas. Why not?
Yeah, only thing they got to be careful of is setting Kits any further behind here, because right now speed, like we keep saying, he's incredibly farmed, he's doing what he can, he's got max Devour, he's got his Midas, he's incredibly happy, but it's always at the cost of something, and right now that is the Ember Spirit's net worth, who is still kind of struggling for his Maelstrom timing. Arrow lands mid, a little bit crazy. We'll do the damage.
Kits? Okay, there we go. He's able to jump away. Look at the Nyx Assassin, though. Trying to be a sneaky boy. Does he get the stun? Yes, he does. If he had mana burn, I think maybe he can go for the kill, but honestly, that's still pretty terrible, right? Kits doesn't get to go back to base. He's trying to use the bottle right now to heal himself up, but that means he had to burn the Invis rune he was holding. Yeah, you said, right? They don't really want Kits to be set back any further, but that does count as a setback.
Yeah, and he will be able to walk back to the well, fill his bottle, regen up, and then remnant back mid with maybe a second or 2 to spare, but no, definitely slowing him down. And really, the play that they want and the play that they tried already is onto Devi, but Devi, the scan hits, and he is getting run at in a straight line, a line that I don't think he can really survive at this point, and should just be going down for free here. Yeah, there's just nothing he can do. But this is the play that they were looking for maybe 3 minutes ago, so they finally connect, but again, this is all time for your Wraith King to buy pretty much whatever he wants, and currently, Yuma's looking to change the game a little bit and become an initiator for his team if he does just immediately go for that Blink Dagger, which I could definitely agree with, just giving them another play, because the Enigma, he's more of a secondary play at this stage of the game. He's going for a straight-up Octarine. He's really just the cherry on top at this point.
Oh, they suspect that something's going down here, and Alexo did walk under the cover of a sentry, so they slow him up, they hit the arrow. Carapace really only does you so much good against that many heroes. And with the way Kits is sort of positioning himself, yeah, they want to look for a little bit more. They've got to get through Yuma's ult, though. But again, it's still level 1. It's on that hefty cooldown. So if they could pop it here, it would be pretty damn valuable. And they're going to try to push. But Xantic is coming in, channeling the Requiem. Okay, going to cancel it for now. Freezing Field now coming out from Boris. But honestly, they still kind of did what they wanted. AB1 does die there, but the reincarnation is popped, and the rest of the lineup kind of just walks away for free.
Oh, and everybody still dancing. Both offlaners just take over the safe lanes with the response coming in from everybody else. It's a very, very slow-paced game. Everybody's pretty much going to be able to farm with their BKBs before that next big engage happens, and Speed is certainly ready for this next fight. Just a matter of whether everybody else is ready to follow him in, because even DNM, no Manta, just immediately going for the BKB after his Yasha. He's not playing around. Yuma.
That's a very bold stance out from the Wraith King, but I feel like even 5RAT were a little bit surprised. They didn't have people in position to really get the damage in. Now they've got 5 mid, though, so they're going to push their way forward. The meta coming out from DNM, they want this tower, and Xantic can clear out the creep waves fairly quickly, but yeah, they still actually need the glyph.
Yeah,
Question
and
is, will
even
it be
though
enough?
they want to fight this, and Kits is even still fiending for it, and
Mhm.
you have to make the hard choice, and does BKB it, but now you have 100% forfeited your mid tower and probably a little bit more. So now Wildcard have to just straight up dodge any further engagements. They need to buy their time now. Even though speed, does he get Black Hole before his BKB?
Well,
Perfect.
Black Hole is there. They find the kill. The arrow had already been used to force the BKB usage, so they didn't have that immediate cancel. Yeah, speed for tower. Not the greatest, but at least you get a trade. Although, yeah, Alex going down there as well. Kind of sucks for him, but if you're wild card, I don't really know. I mean, Black Hole is a tough cooldown to lose, but you got a very valuable kill. Top net worth hero in the game goes down, and your other cores just kind of fall back and keep farming.
Yeah, and you veer off any aggression that could have come out. Just it's a battle of inches, really. Just with all the sentries placed in Moo's bottom. Well, that's your blink dagger on Yuma. He's got 2 more leaps though. No TP is the bigger problem for Moose, but I don't think they checked. So it looks like they're gonna give up on a kill that boy they would have, and they don't know that.
Turned on.
Uh-oh.
Yuma does not have reincarnation. There's no black hole on Divide. This is not looking great. Yuma goes down, and Divide is trying to run, but the Sleight of Fist takes him out, and that's going to be the thing here. The Wraith King blinked in. If my eyes did not deceive me, he went for that one kind of smack first before the stun, and you need that lockdown right away because Moose jumps out, and it goes from a missed opportunity to a sudden collapse onto your heroes, and we were just praising them for keeping the core safe in the previous fight, then they lose too.
Yeah, didn't even have Black Hole, didn't have their Nyx Assassin, just feels a little bit odd, but, you know, can't harp on them too much because it's a small gain, it's a small loss for them, and now he's got level 12, he has the second point up in reincarnation. When he does eventually reincarnate, it's not going to hurt nearly as much, even though his Blink Dagger, he wanted to get active. He'd probably take another smoke play again with his Nyx Assassin, probably in tow this time around, but now Yuma has to kind of look for his own damage. Otherwise, he's going to really start to fall behind this Terrorblade, who has a BKB and is a little bit more battle-ready than you are right now.
Yeah, he stopped at the Yasha, get the BKB up and running, so he's still got some damage. And they are really trying to push their way up here. I mean, control the Roche Pit is going to become more and more of an issue as we get to that 20-minute mark. Kit's very nearly gets himself taken down, but he is going to be able to jump out. His teammates, meanwhile, find the Nyx Assassin. They'll get the kill, and now they want more. Doom dropped directly onto Exantic's head. No BKB out from him. Does he even get the regen rune? No, he doesn't. Speed steals it, and they find the kill.
See, that's where if that's a haste rune, all 5RAT members' mouths just drop. But, you know, he doesn't get away. And now this leads perfectly into Roche. You've got half of a meta left. Ember Spirit's going to have to heal, but you will be able to just swing these objectives. Even though it's not the fastest Roche and nobody's helping. This is where speed, typically on a more beast-oriented unit, could probably make this a little bit faster. And Devi's walking up.
Oh, Devi, you don't want to be
dead,
here.
though.
He pushes up to the high ground. Not going to matter. Still dead. Boris will fall as well. Yuma, yeah, you don't really want to go in now. 2 teammates already gone. He'll blink himself out, but this has technically stopped the Roche attempt, but I don't really think this is the way that they planned to do it initially. As speed, he got the hit onto Yuma, but his teammates weren't behind him. They're a little bit split on their targeting, kind of tracking where the Nyx Assassin went. They don't... Well, now they have full vision on him. He's walking back into sentry range, and Kits might go down. Can they save him? Yeah, they can. Kits is okay. This is where this fight gets unbelievably complicated. Does Wildcard even want to keep going? They can't afford to.
Yeah, they don't want to deal with the Jakiro. They know that if they get their BKBs forced out, or if Yuma dies a little bit too fast, then that's just going to be it. But again, the Roche was already slow before. Without the meta, it's impossible. And now they get to D-ward and reset a little bit here. Devi has his Black Hole back up again. Floctarine too, and they're going on to Yuma, but Yuma is the last person you want to go on, and Kits is just dead. And now, well, Wildcard can swing the Roche if they want to, and it's exactly what they should do with the presence of the Dark Lord. This is a much faster Roche and a much easier one to instigate than what 5RAT could do.
Absolute coup from Wildcard here. They had no business really trying to contest Roche without any control of the pit, but Kits, you gotta get that BKB finished if you're gonna try for plays like that, because We talked about it a little bit in the draft. They only need one hero on Wildcard to get the first stun down, and
This is getting tight.
yeah, the follow-up was there, and this is getting so damn tense. The arrow flies. They hit onto Alexo. Who's going to get into the pit, though? Nobody, and now the Black Hole's going to catch out DNM. Where's the follow-up damage? They don't quite have it, and well, now it's time to run, because Xantic already lost the Aegis. Tabai is going to get hit up, and
That's the BKB.
oh
Do it.
god. The Doom is
He's just
there.
gonna get run down.
If Wildcard end up somehow sneaking into the Roche pit and then just losing it all anyway, oh boy, this game is just very strange. And now Kits is chasing after Ollie. He wants a little bit of revenge after getting caught out a moment before. Well, he hasn't gotten the kill just yet, but the arrow is going to get the job done. Moose picks up the kill in Wildcard. The Aegis is not in your opponent's hands. Let's find some sort of silver lining there, but other than that, there really isn't much of a benefit.
No, yeah, it just works, and you do get the objective away from 5RAT, which is the real reason why they forced it as hard as they did, but it still feels pretty bad. Sour taste in your mouth. At least they now get to spend this time just farming effectively, because 5RAT are going to struggle now to look onto that next objective. They have to go all the way through top and force something with the meta, which is something you certainly can do, but will forfeit most of the map to Wildcard, so they probably won't. So in a way, even though it's an ugly play and it doesn't feel good, I think Wildcard got pretty much exactly what they wanted while they finish up items like the BKB on the Enigma, Daedalus on Shadow Fiend, Deso on the Wraith King. Just feels like now we're going to be in a standstill for 5RAT to make their next move.
They've at least, as you said, just kind of bought themselves some time, pushed the window potentially into the future. Still down 6k, but you gotta take what you can get at this point. And I don't know, if you're 5RAT, Kits has to finish his BKB, right? That's gonna be done in really just another moment or two. Is there anything else you think that they should wait significantly for here, or is BKB kind of the ticket in? Because then they'll have what, triple BKBs up on all their cores?
Yeah, that's definitely going to be their moment, as well as I think they've been fishing for it for a while with the Moonlight Shadow, but Speed just finding a Doom at the beginning of a fight would probably be enough of an access point for them to get these team fights started, because they just haven't gotten a good jump just yet. They're still kind of waiting. They've still been a little bit reactionary, really just DNM going in with all of his illusions and then forcing everybody on Wildcard to show early, but a clean jump would make their lives a whole lot easier, but this also works. They smoke in, they're going to place some vision down deep behind the tower, force this top tier 2 down with DNM's TB, and then all Wildcard can really do is probably farm out mid and bottom while, again, they wait for those big items, especially and specifically the BKB on their Enigma, even though mid,
Alex is getting real aggressive, but there's that BKB. Yeah, Kits was waiting for that moment. Finally able to just shut it down on the Nyx Assassin, and they won't get greedy. That did force out your BKB charge, so Kits, I got one kill. Let's not push it too far, and well, DNM is pushing that tower, as you said. So realistically speaking, they just have to act as a buffer. They'll take the kill, take the tower. Maybe they could push up to the tier 2 mid as well. I feel like Wildcard would put a little bit more effort into a defense if that is the case, but it's at least a possibility. The creep wave is already kind of getting into position.
Oh, and look at this. Speed, he's hunting down Yuma bottom, but really, he's just a hero to de-push the wave and then maybe cancel out the Wraith King's Blink Dagger. And Yuma,
whoa,
this is a little bit crazy. They don't want to force everything, but they want to get 5RAT to TP bottom. And Xantic, he's going to show, kill the tower, but there's the Doom. No, Divide.
That's, wow, yeah. Speed, I guess, didn't see the other heroes until it was way too late, and way too late. At least he didn't get the Doom off, because honestly that would have been bad. The Doom would not have killed, and then he would have gone down anyway. So at least you spare the cooldown. But now it's Wildcard pushing up onto the high ground at Xantic. Does he have his talent? Yes, he does. So the presence will affect the buildings. Yuma's got the Deso for the armor reduction, and this tier 3 has already lost about half of its health. Meanwhile, what is going on here? DNM? Well, he's trying to hold the middle lane as well against Yuma. He has to sacrifice AB1. But they do get through the reincarnation. Can they stun him up long enough for a second attempt? No, they cannot. Force Staff gets Yumo away. And Xantic, though, is dropping a little bit low on his HP, so looks like Alexa will just step in and make the sacrificial play.
Yep, Nyx goes down, arrow fishing.
Uh,
You're gonna land! Full arrow!
Yeah, BKB there. He just didn't think it was going to hit. Wow. And now Speed's back in. He's pushing forward. Can he get a Doom off here? The Malefice is really kind of messing with him, but he's got so much move speed. He is a very fast individual, and the Doom will be applied. Who's in position to follow it up? Moose, maybe with the arrow.
Oh my god.
He's a goddamn sniper, but there's the deny.
Oh man.
And then the Crystal Maiden, yeah, left behind. So that is terrible. Your Nyx Assassin goes in, right, jumps on the grenade, saves everybody, you're all going to get out, but then arrow hits, you lose the SF, then you lose your Enigma, then you lose your CM, and suddenly that sacrificial play has no bearing whatsoever. You still lose 4.
Yeah, no, of course, he can't go for the immediate TP or even the BKB TP just because the Doom is coming in out the outpost. The TP was just already there from speed, but it was not a clean exit. And for how well really Wildcard played that up until that point, especially all the hard work they did in forcing 5RAT into Waterfall TPing into that bottom tier 2, it just feels like now the game is in kind of that awkward state here. Really, an awkward state that was, at the end of the day, forced here by Wildcard because of how they just dogpiled on top of that Aegis, but we're still in that waiting game. Now we have to wait for meta, though. So 5RAT, they really are just going to sit on their hands, bide their time, wait for Doom and meta to come back up, and continue farming. It's just the name of the game, it feels like, or the name of the series so far. Just farm it up.
And, I mean, they've got all the heroes to take it. Oh, God, advantage of that is, well, I mean, the sentry coverage has been just about perfect from 5RAT in this game, which is exactly what you needed to do. We talked up how much of an impact the Nyx Assassin could have, but if 5RAT aren't going to let him walk around under the invis, then that impact just does not exist.
Yeah, and then they retreat back, they farm up the waves. The NM's not here to physically hit the tier 2, but the illusion gets the chip going. Xantic does finish a full Daedalus, though, but again, they're just looking for a BKB. Great Force Staff from Boris, though. Good positioning.
Gonna save a BKB charge and cooldown, very important. And now, well, the Nyx respawns. That is the good news for Alex here. His death timer is relatively short, even coming up on 30 minutes. Of course, part of the reason why is because he's 0-9 and has the lowest net worth on his team, but yeah, positives for the Nyx Assassin. That one kind of sucks, though. They get the gem, they do throw it down. I believe they just still miss the sentry anyway, so that's where things are going to get a little bit rougher. If they somehow lose this gem, then Alex basically has no game whatsoever.
Yeah, and it's why it's on the Wraith King with the BKB, so he's got some, maybe a little bit more life to give, even though he really wants this AC, so that way he can actually sit and maybe stick onto some of these heroes. But DNM, very worryingly, he's almost got a full Scotty, and then he's not letting go of you. He already has a 3,000 HP. He's incredibly tanky, and, well, he pops meta. He hits the tier 3. Nobody on Wildcard is in the base, so this is just damage done. Range Rax is almost certainly dead, but, oh, Boris is going to lose his life too.
Yep.
Speed just found the jump. He showed for maybe a second there on the CM, and just knew that that was the only place they were going to TP in from, and this just feels like it's going to be a full Rax. Wildcard are not blinking.
They're trying to go for a tier 3 themselves, and they'll get it. So, I mean, you get some gold, but I don't know. I guess they thought we would have had to TP back everyone. Maybe it wasn't worth it, but the trade still sucks for them.
It's all to buy time for this Enigma's BKB. It's Devi versus the world now. Worst case scenario is Devi gets this BKB, he goes for it, and then he gets doomed from behind. That would be the tragedy of the game, but they give a Rax to allow him time. Of course, it was also an incredibly difficult team fight for them to start with. There's no good way for them to actually get into the team fight, and they could only ever get one Rax, but still kind of smarts. And now Devi has to perform. He has to find something here. There's no other way for you to really slow down or even up the matchup. At this rate, you're just going to lose to Terrorblade.
Something's got to be done. They're approaching the breaking point, so... Oh, let's see what they can find. Yuma? At the end of the day, he still has this blink, right? He hasn't really been able to use it the way he wants. That's also not the way that he wants, but the black hole is going to come through. DNM in some trouble. Can they save him? Can he get the Sunder off? Yes, he can. Resetting the engagement. As now Speed is kind of caught in the middle. The Doom was there to stop Tavai, but now he has to find a way out. But with the BKB active, they're not tracking him down, and Xantic is going to be the one to fall. And this is absolutely just turning into a disaster. Yuma's going to lose his first life. Tavai ends up dying to the Doom. They drop the Ice Path on Yuma for the second life, and they will just clean up everyone. Ollie is here, but that's only because he fought back after dying at the start.
Yep, and, well, you need both. Without a Lincoln Sphere, you don't block the Doom, you can't do anything. Now they're going to get a free Aegis for DNM after he, gets a regen rune if he wants it, or is he going to be nice? Okay, they're talking about it. Probably could have given DNM the regen rune, but Kits is a stubborn fool, and they will get the Roche pretty much regardless for free. Okay, Sunder's AB1. Good guy AB1, but yeah, Wildcard's game, that was their play, that was their moment. It was a tiny black hole. It was a black hole that would have worked, but Speed's just too quick with it, too good at getting in there. Even was a little bit late with his BKB pop, but as long as he canceled the black hole, that's all that mattered. And then they just got that nice disengage, that nice reset. Kits as well played the fight absolutely perfectly. Just the bane of the supports. There's just nothing that backline could do versus Ember Ags. Just shattered. And now, Aegis on DNM, Ag Shard for Kits, and really 5RAT have everything here. I feel like they've got victory in sight.
Yeah, this feels like now it is very much their game to lose. Wildcard's agency rapidly dwindling here, but they're not going to give up. They're going to wait, see what abilities they can get back up. 30 seconds out for Black Hole. You've got Reincarnation back up, so you might as well give it at least one more attempt, but this is going to be rough. All the lanes are going to be pushing against them. It's going to have to be some sort of miracle play on the high ground, and well, I say on the high ground. They actually just smoked up, so they may look to take the fight outside of the base, and under normal circumstances, ET, we would say that's probably the smart move, right? Fight out of your base instead of in it, but the results of the fight still won't matter. If they lose in their base, they lose the game. If they lose the fight outside of the base, I feel like they still just lose the game.
You know, it's where maybe this Blink Dagger from Divine is going to change things up enough, but he's got to go big. If he doesn't go big, then it is just probably going to be the game. And the easiest time for him to find those black holes is going to be when 5RAT eventually look to just get their next set of racks here. Even though DNM right now, he's being patient, kind of pestering. Kits is getting a kill on the CM because, you know, there's not much that Boris can really do to survive versus that. And Alexo, he's walking in between. He's actually going to hunt down Kits a little bit here, and well, they're going to try for it, and maybe they get it. Perfect chain stun, but there's not enough damage.
And here's where the problem starts. Speed is in, drop a couple of stuns, buy time for the arrow to connect. The rest of the team's making their way over, and Yuma, what can he do here? He could try for just a BKB pop. Yeah, he'll blink himself away, try to TP home. Does he make it out? Yes, he does. Speed had the blink right, but the timing wrong. And Alex? No, okay, never mind. I thought for a moment maybe he would make it away. But they will lose him, and at some point Yuma actually needed the slot, so he passed to the gem back to the Nyx, and well, now that gem is in Moose's hands.
Wow.
Yeah, and they killed the Enigma. AB1 and DNM just abusing the vision, just got it. And okay, that's your doom. Nice bait from Xantic, so that's kind of a bad situation for Speed, but certainly not enough to save the tier 3 and Divide. Well, he knows there's no doom, but he has to go now.
Yeah, he's going to throw it out there. It is going to be enough damage to take down DNM once, but now what's the plan to kill him again, ET? They used everything that they have, and I guess it'll stop the push, but Wildcard really feeling like they're getting into that desperation zone. They stopped the push, they bought time, they can breathe for now, but that's a buyback and your black hole committed.
Yeah, and now you'd say Wildcard, they should smoke up right now and look for a pick on their vision, but they don't have any vision, and 5RAT are not going towards it either. Not to mention, that Doom is up in 30 seconds. The Octarine Corp, it's paying its dues.
Oh, man.
You're going to have that Doom, and Divide is not going to have the hole. This is where you could probably see the game just end in a very dramatic fashion. Not to mention, if Divide ever dies, then that might just be the game. So now there's no Enigma for 80.
Well, that makes things quite a bit more difficult. There is no meta up for 50, so DNM isn't quite as strong for this push, but he also doesn't have to worry about too much here. He's got Sunder, he's got a BKB, and they might have Yuma. They were hitting him up there, but the Force Staff, well, it's going to allow the Wraith King to fall back, but he can't afford to fall back. He has to stay on the front line, trying to get some damage out, but the Ice Path's going to lock him down, and there's your Reincarnation being popped. Kits, meanwhile, wants the back line. He'll jump in. He'll take down one right away. That's Boris dead. Xantic in some trouble as well. He will fall. No buyback available, and the GG will be thrown out there as 5RAT. Well, it took them a little bit, right? They decided to go slow and steady. Don't take too many risks on this one, but it does pay off with a very solid win.
Yeah, just incredibly clean stuff from them. Really, it's funny to highlight it, I guess, firstly, but I think the most important part of this game was just stonewalling Alex. This was a Nyx assassin that couldn't do anything. The sentry coverage, the plays on him, everything was way too quick, way too fast. They're set up with the Ember Spirit, and I think really what started it all off is fixing the Ember's lane, not letting Azanta get what he wants, making sure that Moose was there to rotate and make really every play that he needed to make happen. And I think Moose, he really carried 5RAT for the first 15 minutes of this game, which set up for the incredible Doom game where he just farmed and didn't really have to do too much, which set up for Kits to have somebody to play with. And sure, they maybe made one stumble around 15-20 minute mark, but aside from that, felt like they had all of the agency here. And Wildcard really didn't have too many plays to make. I feel like the only time we saw them really get aggressive is whenever Yuma simply had a blink dagger and they try for one play and they end up feeding two of their lives instead. Just it felt like Wildcard didn't have that many tools to slow down or even punish all of the timings that 5RAT were using. And well, we'll see. Wildcard, they're having troubles, but hopefully game 2 they've got something a little bit more confident to show us.
Yeah, we'll see what adjustments they make, because I don't know. This draft on paper didn't look too bad, but 5RAT were just ready at every step of the way. So Wildcard needs something that's, I guess, not as easily countered, but that's much easier said than done. So we're going to be moving into game 2 in just a little bit, so we shall see if 5RAT can keep the momentum up or if Wildcard can get that all-important 1-1 salvaged for themselves. So stick around, and we'll be back in just a couple of minutes.